The yips are one of the most puzzling phenomena in all of sports.
He has the yips? That's bad.
They're embarrassing, sometimes entertaining, and can derail an accomplished athlete's career in a flash. Athletes with the yips can experience involuntary muscle contractions, jerks, tremors, or freezing, especially under pressure. So, where did the yips come from? Which athletes nearly lost their careers because of them? Why do athletes get them in the first place? And what can be done about them? Let's find out. Despite extensive research, the exact causes of the yips are still not fully understood, and effective treatments are elusive at best. Studies have shown that the yips are linked to disruptions in the basal ganglia, a group of structures in the brain involved in motor control and learning movements. The basal ganglia thalamus cortex pathway plays a crucial role in executing precise movements. Boy, I just barely made it through saying that.
Wow!
Dysfunction in this pathway, often associated with a breakdown in dopamine transmission, can lead to the involuntary muscle movements characteristic of the yips. Dopamine, a neurotransmitter, is believed to be a key factor in the condition. High dopamine levels are associated with better motor performance and motivation, while low levels can lead to aversion and anxiety. Research has shown that elite athletes tend to have higher level of dopamine transporters, suggesting a strong link to athletic performance. Basically, if you're burning out of your dopamine by doom scrolling on your phone or even whacking off too much, your pitches might sail to the backstop. Yeah, I said it. Not to say that's what happened to Rick Ankiel, but something clearly affected him in a significant way back in 2000 on the biggest stage in baseball. In Game 1 of the 2000 NLDS versus the Braves, Ankiel started strong on the bump, not allowing any runs in the first 2 innings. However, in the 3rd inning, his performance suddenly faltered. He allowed 4 runs on 2 hits, walked 4 batters, and threw 5 wild pitches before being pulled from the game with 2 outs left in the inning. Despite a sudden lapse, the Cardinals still somehow managed to win the game. Ankiel playfully joked that he was the first pitcher to throw 5 wild pitches in an inning since Burt Cunningham in 1890. Or Tungsten Arm O'Doyle. Ankiel's next start came in Game 2 in the NLCS against the New York Mets. He was removed in the first inning after throwing only 20 pitches, 5 of which went past the catcher Eli Marrero, although only 2 were officially recorded as wild pitches. The first pitch sailed over the head of Mets hitter Timo Perez. Ankiel made another appearance in the 7th inning of Game 5, facing 4 hitters, walking 2 and throwing 2 more wild pitches. The Cardinals ultimately lost the series to the Mets, 4-1. The reason behind Ankiel's sudden control issues were speculated to be psychological, possibly linked to personal stressors such as his father's imprisonment and his parents' divorce during the 2000 season. Ankiel's loss of control was compared to that of Steve Blass, who experienced a similar decline in pitching accuracy for unknown reasons. In 2001, Ankiel returned to the majors but continued to struggle with control, walking 25 batters and throwing 5 wild pitches in 24 innings. He was sent down to AAA, where his problems only got worse. In just over 4 innings, he walked 17 batters and threw 12 wild pitches, leading to a demotion to the Rookie League. Ankiel missed the 2002 season due to an elbow injury and underwent Tommy John surgery in 2003. He returned to the bigs in 2004 and showed somewhat improvement as a relief pitcher. However, in 2005, after continued struggles in spring training, Ankiel decided to make a switch. In 2007, Ankiel made a remarkable comeback for the Cardinals, but this time facing pitchers. He was promoted back to the majors in August and immediately made an impact, hitting a 3-run home run in his first game back. He continued on his new path, hitting his first Grand Slam a month later. Ankiel's return to the majors after years of struggle and transformation was celebrated as a legendary comeback. Perhaps him being in the batter's box and reacting to pitches versus having time to think revitalized his career. Psychological components, particularly anxiety and perfectionism, play a significant role in the development and exacerbation of the yips. Athletes with the yips often display high levels of self-consciousness, perfectionism, and self-critical thinking. Athletes, they're just like us, except, all that athleticism. These traits can lead to a vicious cycle where the fear of making mistakes increases anxiety, further impairing performance. There are two different types of yips as categorized by researchers, type 1 and type 2. Yes, this is real, and they call them the yips. Type 1 yips are associated with something called functional dystonia, a neurological condition causing involuntary muscle contractions. Type 2 yips are linked to psychological choking, where increased self-focus and distraction disrupt performance. This is also known as falconing. And when choking comes to mind in the NBA, it's hard not to think of Nick Anderson. Nick Anderson left college and declared for the NBA draft in 1989, where he was selected 11th overall by the Orlando Magic. As an expansion team, Anderson became the first draft pick in the franchise's history. During his initial seasons, Anderson was the team's primary scoring option and led the Magic in points per game during the 91-92 season. As the team's talent improved, Anderson's offensive role diminished, but he remained a key starter. Notably, on April 23, 1993, he scored a career-high 50 points off the bench. In the 94-95 postseason, the loaded Magic faced the Chicago Bulls in the Eastern Conference semifinals. In Game 1, Anderson famously stole the ball from a freshly unretired Michael Jordan, leading to the game-winning basket for the Magic. He remarked that Michael Jordan didn't look like the old Michael Jordan, and that number 45 doesn't explode like number 23 used to. Jordan switched back to the number 23 the next game, scoring 38 points in a Bulls victory. Nonetheless, the Magic still won the series and advanced to their first NBA Finals. But perhaps Jordan got in Anderson's head, or maybe he sent him death threats. That's not out of the realm for Michael Jordan. In Game 1 of the NBA Finals against the defending champion Houston Rockets, Anderson missed 4 consecutive free throws late, despite being a 70% free throw shooter. They blew the game, and Houston eventually swept the Magic. Following this incident, some Orlando fans nicknamed Anderson Nick the Brick, or Brick Anderson. See, Twitter didn't invent hating on athletes. Hating been around for a long time. Why'd I say that with a southern accent? Initially, Anderson seemed to bounce back, but his career then sharply declined, primarily due to a sudden drop in free throw accuracy. During the 96-97 season, his free throw percentage plummeted to a career low 40.4%, and his scoring average dropped to 12 points per game. He was often benched in close games due to his unreliable and erratic free throw shooting. Anderson's struggles continued into the first half of the 97-98 season, where he averaged only 6.5 points per game and a paltry 36.3% shooting from the stripe. Those are Shaq-like numbers from the free throw line. However, he managed to turn things around in the second half of the season, with his scoring average rising to 22.6 points per game and free throw percentage improving all the way up to 67.6%. It's hard to say what changed for Anderson, but unlike Ankiel, he managed to overcome the yips without changing positions. I mean, wherever you are on the court, you're going to have to face the music and shoot free throws. The environment in which an athlete trains and competes can significantly impact the development of the yips. Negative coaching styles, high-pressure environments, and traumatic experiences can exacerbate the condition. Athletes who experience traumatic events or prolonged stress may be more susceptible to developing anxiety-based disorders, which include the yips. These players tend to obsess over their performance and focus on negative outcomes, leading to a self-perpetuating cycle of anxiety and performance breakdowns. It's called ruminating, and it's what you do when you're trying to fall asleep at night. This happened to backup catcher Mackie Sasser, who after a collision at home plate developed problems simply throwing the ball back to the pitcher. Despite extensive research, there is no consensus on a definitive treatment of the yips. However, several strategies have shown promise in helping athletes manage and potentially overcome this condition. Encouraging athletes to focus on external cues rather than internal thoughts can help reduce anxiety and improve performance. Creating a positive practice environment that rewards success rather than punishes failure can also help athletes develop confidence and reduce the likelihood of developing the yips. Mental routines that involve clearing of the mind and focusing on the present can help athletes maintain their composure under pressure. I'm not saying that being dumb helps, but not overthinking is a step in the right direction. Put it this way, you would never have to worry about Rob Gronkowski getting the yips.
Yo soy fiesta.
Consistent, well-intentioned practice is crucial for developing automatic motor patterns and reducing the impact of the yips. Elite athletes often rely on tens of thousands of repetitions to ingrain motor patterns, which helps them perform automatically even under stress. A really good quote about this is, "An amateur trains until he gets it right. A professional trains until he can't get it wrong." But for about a decade, this process was good enough for Matt Schaub, even though he was never seen as an elite quarterback in the NFL. After backing up Michael Vick in Atlanta, Schaub was the first franchise quarterback in Houston Texans history. He led the NFL in passing yards in 2009, led the team to their first 2 playoff berths in 2011 and 2012, and then watched it all come crashing down in just 4 games. Schaub was the catalyst for the Texans' 2-3 start, a steep decline for a team that had won a playoff game a year earlier. He had tossed 12 touchdowns in those 5 games, but the problem was that 4 of them had gone to the other team. In 4 straight games, Schaub threw 4 back-breaking pick sixes, an NFL record. Yeah, not even Nathan Peterman could do that. And they weren't really great plays by the defense. He was just getting read like a book. Hopefully that's rock bottom tonight, his head coach Gary Kubiak said after the 4th straight and record-breaking pick 6. It turns out Kubes was right, but Schaub never climbed his way back up. Schaub spent the rest of his career as a backup, all because he got the yips. So when you see an athlete struggling, it could be for a variety of reasons. They could be struggling with anxiety, rubbing out too many batches, or overthinking things. Try to encourage them. Well, unless they play for the other team.